Welcome to Disturbed, our American Horror Story podcast. Tonight we are discussing Season 6, Chapter 6, which there's no name for it, but I'm going to call it The Twist, or what the F.
Yeah, seriously. The Twist is a good name for it.
It is The Twist because, we had been hearing about it all year that, hey, things change up in Season 6, and yes, they do.
And I also want to point something out. I'm not pulling a Donald Trump. I am sniffing. I think I have a little cold.
You're a little cold?
So those of you watching, if you're seeing me, touch my nose, I have a little cold. It's not a Trumpism. And if you hear a little sniff, that's what it is. So
here in Chicago, just so you guys know, the weather changed. It was really nice the last week and a half. It got really cold the last couple of days, and we've both been very busy with a lot of things. And you know what? As we say, life happens. So.
It happens. You know what? Actually, I'll tell you, what day was that? Last week, I woke up. Oh, it was on Thursday. I woke up. Mm-hmm. I had vertigo.
Wow.
I've never had vertigo before. First of all, vertigo is awful. Second of all, it's wild, man. Have you ever had it?
I have, yes.
I mean, like it's kind of a wild experience. I kind of dug that it was this weird experience, but then I'm like, no, I'm like getting sweaty and I think I'm going to die from this. It's awful. But now in hindsight, I'm like, yeah, it's cool. Everything's like moving. And
everything moves and you're kind of like, it's like riding a roller coaster, but not in a roller coaster. So
yeah, it was actually at the end of my whatever it's called. I forgot what it's called already. You can tell what's going on in my head. It was produced by Brad Falachuk, so that's why I enjoyed it so much.
Yes.
Vertigo by Brad Falachuk. All right, did we introduce ourselves?
I did not. My name is I am your host, Chris Mao, and with me tonight is
Rob Southgate.
Yeah, sorry, Danette, who is our only watcher on YouTube right now. We got going. We're too excited about this. One cool thing about this episode before we get going, it is directed by Angela Bassett. And
oh, really? I didn't know that.
This is her one, and then it was written by Ned Martell, who has been one of their guys in Glee, and did he's been on American Horror Story. He wrote Room Service, which is that room where Kathy Bates pulls out all the guns and stuff.
Oh my gosh, I love that episode.
So he's written some really great episodes. In the series, so
he may have topped it all right here.
Yes, he did. So this is The Twist, and so it kicks off, and they bring back Cheyenne Jackson as kind of like I don't know if it's a reality show host or he's the guy who.
No, you know what he is. He's the producer.
Right.
He's the producer. He's not like a Jeff Probst. He's the producer of My Roanoke Nightmare, and that's why they pull him in for the meeting with the execs where he's pitching the second season, and they're like, dude, what's with the cameras? He's his character is Sydney.
Right.
And Sydney is, now we did have this right. We kept saying we think it's something to do with that person off camera that was talking to Lee.
Yes.
And it turns out it's Sydney is the one that was doing that. He's the producer of the documentary. Director, producer.
Right. His name is Sidney Aaron James. And what do they always do to mass murderers? They give them three names.
They give them three names, yeah.
So, I mean, and when we get to Kathy Bates, Agnes Mary Winstead, another telltale sign about what's going on.
Some stabbing going on.
Yes. Some stabbing and cleaving. So,
do you know why they do that with serial killers and that? Because I actually just heard this on another podcast.
So they don't, because common names, they don't want everybody to be like.
That's it exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said that it's always like everyone always jokes about that, but they said, actually they do it as an identifier to narrow the amount of people that it could possibly be that we're talking about.
Right. So if you have like if you're John Smith, there's 20,000 of them running around.
Right. So like if your name happens to be John Gacy, you're like, dodge a bullet. If it's like, no, it's John Charles Gacy, I'm a different guy.
Yeah.
If all they put out there was John Gacy, that's when you run into trouble. It's like when John Hinckley shot President Reagan, there was a character on TV named John Hinckley on Greatest American Hero. The Greatest American Hero was John Hinckley.
And they changed his name. So
they changed his name. And, if they had called him John Joseph Hinckley, you wouldn't have associated it that way.
Right.
And the name had to be changed on Greatest American Hero. Okay. That's it for the story tonight, kids.
Don't kill people. Don't become a mass murderer.
That's right. All right. And now, Good Night Moon. Good Night Blood Moon.
Or not, I'm sorry, I can't sing.
Maybe we'll do that at the end of the season. We'll write Good Night Blood Moon and read it to everybody.
Just a blood moon up on the graphic up there. See you next year.
Good night, Piggy. Good night, Spider Girl.
Good night, yes. Creepy Spider Girl, yes. Good night, Burnt.
Okay.
Whatever. So
what is that? Who? Wait a minute.
Yes.
I just realized.
Yes.
That burned guy that walked in shot was Mott.
Yes. I was thinking about it. Spoiler alert, I was thinking about that when we did the last podcast. Yes. I was like, that's Edward Mott.
I had no idea. I was like, I wrote in my notes, I'm like, who's the disgusting burned up guy? It's Mott, of course.
It was either, it could have been Elias, which would have been better.
Cricket, maybe? No.
Cricket. No.
No, it was totally him. It was totally Mott. Now, what I wonder is, if we go back and watch it, is that Evan Peters? Because I know that it's not Evan Peters. I know that Mott they've got to have a different actor playing Mott, right?
Why?
Well, because they do with all of them. The character Evan Peters playing Mott was the actor playing him.
Oh, maybe that is. Maybe it's
so. It's got to be somebody else playing Mott there.
Right. Yeah. So
yeah, it's going to get really confusing now. So I wrote down as best I could. I tried to keep straight of everything. We now have characters that we've known this whole time under different names.
Right.
So like Lee is now clearly Lee. That's it. But there is Monet, who is Angela Bassett, played Lee before. So now we're going to have Monet, Agnes,
Rory,
Audrey,
and Dominic.
Oh, Dominic! Oh my gosh! When he showed up, that was amazing. So okay, let's flip the cards. They flip the cards in the first 2 seconds. I know we've been talking around about it here, but we're just going to flip the cards. So the big twist, and we kind of skated around this. I know that we didn't get it exactly right, but the big twist is
I was wrong.
That first half of the season, the first 5 episodes, were a reality show that we were watching, that the actors that in the drama were the dramatized portions were actors.
Right, correct.
And the other people were the real people. That's where we had that kind of that's why we now know them under different names when they come back. The premise is Sydney is selling them the second season because the first season was hugely successful. I love that too. Like it beat Walking Dead and Sunday Night Football. I thought that was great.
Yes. So not going to happen, but sorry.
The best part in that beginning is when they're talking to him and the one person goes, so when he's pitching what the new show is, they're going to take the actors and the real people and put them in that house during the blood moon. And that person goes, so it's kind of like Big Brother during blood moon?
Yeah.
Like, oh, do you know how much I'd watch that? I'm going to watch it, but that's amazing.
And I don't know how real that is, but I'm sure it's very much like that. How out of touch these executives are. They're like, oh, that's great. We want to do Survivor, but where cannibals are there.
Well, no, that's totally how it is.
Yeah.
That's totally how it is. I mean, everyone's heard the one about Star Trek, the way he sold Star Trek. He walked in and he said, it's wagon train in space. Oh, hey, I like that.
Yeah.
If you can equate it to something with a twist, it's a much easier sell. So he's like, when the executive is like, oh, it's Big Brother, but during your blood moon, all of a sudden they all get it.
Right. It's like, oh, we can relate that. So yeah.
And I love that. I love this whole thing. And I love how like that Sydney guy didn't even trust it enough to just film it. He's like in there, like it has like a guy setting up effects, like, and you're watching it going, okay, this is a plot device. That some of these effects are going to go off and they're going to misconstrue, but at the same time, real stuff is going on. Like, for example.
Well, I think they set it up to be where if anything happens, they don't know if it's the guy who set it off or not.
Right.
Because there's no way Sydney knows all the stuff that's going to happen. So,
do you think that was really Agnes that showed up and smashed that window? Or do you think that was a setup? Or do you think it was the Butcher?
I think it's the Butcher because they found no trace, but who knows?
Right.
I mean,
they might not have found a trace if the guy did the special effects either.
Right. There's something going on. I mean,
because those actors have not noticed the special effects yet.
No. Well, they haven't. None of those have gone off. None of the
that we know of.
That we know of, but I mean,
but they might have right there. That might have been one of them. The seeing the Butcher there might have been because the way it looked as a silhouette coming in, and I was like, that was a little convenient. And then when they saw the face, I thought, okay, that could have been a setup where they see Agnes just to set them all off base, but Agnes isn't really there. They've got a restraint.
They're in the hot tub, and all of a sudden, they're.
Oh no, this was an effect. This was not an effect. When they were in the hot tub and then they heard the screaming upstairs.
No, not the screaming. Did you notice there were torches when he got out of the hot tub?
No.
Okay, so
back in the woods.
At night, Audrey, who's played by Sarah Paulson, and Rory, played by Evan Peters, go out to the hot tub because they have hooked up after the show.
Yeah, they're married.
They're married. So, and Evan Peters plays this total 25-year-old young Hollywood stud hooking up with an older woman who is Sarah Paulson. And Sarah Paulson's like, we're so in love, and I can't believe I got a hot guy like that. And he's probably totally doing it to hook up with. I mean, she's very attractive, but very who did Tom Cruise marry first when he was in Hollywood? That was an older person. I can't think of her name off the top of my head. I had it and I lost it. But whatever, you marry someone that's got
Rue McClanahan.
Rue McClanahan, yes. B. Arthur.
B. Arthur.
That
was B. Arthur Cruz to you, mister.
B. Arthur Cruz. Danette will know, sure. Danette thinks it was actually the Butcher. So
all right.
So they're in the hot tub. They kind of hook up. They say they're married. They go out to the hot tub for some hanky-panky. Something happens. Sarah Paulson runs in. Then that's when Cuba Gooding Jr. shows up. That's
what happened. They heard the fight.
Right. They heard the fight, and so Evan Peters gets out of the hot tub, and behind him is a group of torches walking to him out of the woods.
I completely missed that. I might have been taking a note right then because the Dominic fight was that was crazy. I was taking notes on that whole thing.
Why? What did you think was going to happen?
What do you mean?
When Dominic showed up.
Oh, I knew that was going to happen. I just didn't know. It took me by surprise when he showed up, when you heard the sound. I was like, okay, it's going to be the Butcher. It's going to be one of their effects. And then it's Dominic.
Or it's going to be the Polk showing up because we haven't seen those guys for weeks.
That's right. But it was great when that happened. And they opened the door and there was that pause. And then Matt is like, I didn't think I was going to get a chance to see him face to face. And then, boom, they explode, just fighting. I was like, wow, that was really great. Shelby said they're just screaming her head off. I'm like, stop it. How about that crazy thing? Let's go back a little bit.
Well,
so Shelby,
how about more bad choices? You're at this
it's Bad Choice Theater.
You go and open the door by yourself. Oh yeah, that's not going to be a ghost.
Yeah,
What's wrong with you?
Right, especially since Shelby's been there.
Right.
She's heard this stuff. Yeah.
I'm going to go back to the house. Yeah, okay. Go ahead and tell what you're going to say.
Sydney is full of bad choices. You know? How does he not know that there's at least something funky going on out here? And I loved this. I mean, they're really taking their time to get some of the little moments right. When Matt says, when they're sitting there like, we don't believe this is all a bunch of crap. We didn't see anything. And Matt goes, what months were you here?
Right.
To me, that was brilliant because it all revolves around this blood moon. There's a blood moon outside. We're filming right now during the blood moon. You guys have no idea. And then Matt also was the one that said, I don't think we're going to survive it this time. And then the next thing we see, I mean, not immediately, but pretty damn close to it, is the thing comes up on the screen. It says, over the next 3 days during the blood moon, every participant in this series died under mysterious circumstances.
Except one.
Except for one. Who's going to survive? Who do you think? Cricket? Cricket's already dead.
Cricket's dead. Our fan favorite Cricket's dead. It's going to be...
How about Cheyenne doing the impression of Cricket? That was awesome.
Yes, it was fantastic. I want to bet Shelby's going to live.
Shelby, you think?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think the actors are going to live. I think they're all toast.
Well, one didn't make it already. So, because all right.
So we talked about it last episode. Already dead?
Already dead, yes. Evan, welcome back. Oh, good seeing you. But he'll come back as a ghost because he's killed on the property. So he'll be around.
He'll be around
anywhere. He'll just exist.
Danette just wrote on here, she wondered why Shelby and Matt would go back to the house. You cannot pay me enough to go back. You know what?
Danette, but it's bad choices. I'm going to go back and get together with Matt at the house. What are you
at the house? And Matt, but see, that's just it. It is bad choice theater. Number one. Number two, Shelby said, I think this is the only way I can reconcile this. And Matt going back, I think he's going back essentially to commit suicide.
Yes, I did too. That's a good point. I thought that was, yep.
You know, he wasn't interested in getting back with Shelby. He wasn't interested in anything else. And he's the one saying, I think we're all going to die here. But his life is terrible. How about the fact that the stuff from the ghosts is bleeding over into reality? So like this poor Agnes, like, has gone crazy. She's totally getting infected by the butcher.
Right. Well,
she's up there when she was yelling at them as they were walking away. It's like, don't look back. Like she's schizo. I'm like, no, that's the butcher up there. She's bitching you out as the butcher.
Maybe not. Maybe she just cracked, and who knows? Maybe, who knows?
Man.
She's going to show up? So what if she's the one who survived because she's nutty? Kind of like Elias survived.
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
Everybody's dead, and Agnes is the only one that survives.
And when she looks at the butcher, it's like, yeah, I'm going to butcher your ass.
Yeah, right.
That would be awesome.
What if she just survives, and then the last thing we see is her sitting out there in the woods by herself with a bloody, cleaver. Yeah. And it's like, oh, she killed all of them in the end. Or like, if it leaves that question, even though we know, like, that fried up Mott is walking around there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh!
I think it's awesome that I want to go into Agnes Mary Winstead again. 3 names, potential murderer, but she freaks out on the Walk of Fame and stole props from the show, and she's running around with the cleaver.
She had the pig head,
right? Running around on the Walk of Fame, yelling people, "This is my lot."
That's great. And then I love how the first reaction, because the actors are all so superficial there.
Oh yeah.
I love how the first reaction of Audrey when you see the 911 call, and she's like, she's trying to steal my Saturn. And why would she be taking your car, ma'am? Not my car, my award.
Yes, exactly.
I also loved that. Now this is a more subtle reference here, more of an inside thing. But, a lot of that stuff is produced. There's a lot of TV that's now produced in Canada.
Right.
Things produced in Canada are eligible for Saturn Awards.
Yes.
So that was a cool little thing. Like, people that don't know that might think, oh, they were just making something up like the Emmys. But no, it's saying that this was produced
in Canada.
Right. This house, now it's not Canada, it's New England.
It's in South Carolina.
Right. Sorry,
or New England,
public school education, man. But why would it be up for a Saturn Award unless?
Well, hold on.
Unless it was produced for Canadian television, which is
there anything not skeevy about Sydney? I mean, everything he does is on the cheap, or does it just because other people do it? So because it's probably cheaper to film stuff in Vancouver. I'm sure that's why he would do it.
Yeah, but he didn't film in Vancouver. He filmed at the house in Roanoke.
Well, they filmed some of it in the house, but yeah, who knows?
No, they filmed it there because they said we were here. We filmed. There was nothing weird. It was obviously that house where they were filming. And when they showed him walking through the house, they knew everything.
Right.
So they were there, just not during the blood moon.
Right. And
but maybe he produced it for Canadian television. And there's a lot of that stuff that happens, and then it ends up in America, but it was shot there. So it's a Canadian production that has been released on American television. That's my guess.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
You know, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's how it works. You know?
Sure.
So
that sounds good. He had Sidney had some great lines in this where he goes, reality is, the guy's like, reality TV, and he goes, reality is what we make it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I thought that was a fantastic line by him.
I really, that's Cheyenne, right? That's his name?
Cheyenne Jackson.
That guy's fantastic. I loved when he came on. He had a lot of energy, and I believed him. And what a jerk. Oh, how about when he watches the video of the guy cutting his own head off with a chainsaw? When they were pushing the body, I'm like, you know, there's the blood on it, but like the head is like on the crotch. You're like, someone was decapitated.
Exactly. Well,
they put it in the thing, and then they showed it. And when they showed it, and he cuts his head off. I love how that Dee reacts.
Oh yeah,
she's like, "I'm out of here." That's crazy. God.
Yeah. Well, he makes a great line. He goes, "You're letting your imagination get away from you." You locked up.
What?
You locked up there for a second, but
did I?
He yells. He goes, "You're letting your imagination get in, or you're letting your imagination cloud your judgment."
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you?
You, Mr. Bad Choice?
Yeah, he is. It's full of bad choices. So, but then it's Diana, right? Is that what that character's name is?
He called her Dee, but then when it had the scroll, it said that it was Diane.
Well, she leaves. And she's like, I'm going to document this to show you how crazy this is and that it isn't bad. And then she stops and sees, I don't know if it's a butcher or somebody standing in the field.
Yeah, it was somebody. It was hard to tell. Like the face was, right. I thought it was a little girl at first. And then I'm like, no, you can't really tell. And I like how they've made them, they're like really scary, disgusting now. Like when the nurses show up, you know, in the TV show, they were in all white. Here, it's like, disgusting.
Well, all bloody and maybe rotten or whatever, but you see somebody in the outfit, and then our favorite villain, Mr. Piggy, shows up.
Yep.
Well, shows up, kills her, and then you see the car roll on the video of her phone. Yeah. That was awesome. It was a bad scene, but it was great.
Well, and what was great about that also was after that whole thing happens, and it comes up and it says this footage was found 3 months later. So all this stuff that's about to go down is going to happen. The blood moon is going to be over 3 days.
Right.
So that was found 3 months later as they were piecing this whole thing together. And this is really clever.
Yeah, I thought it was really clever. And I hated to see her die because she was actually the only redeeming person in the entire human being. Even the gag guy. I was waiting for the
guy with the chainsaw?
Who's the guy from Eastbound and Down? I can't think of his name. I'm drawing a blank. I'm really tired.
You mean the lead guy?
Yeah, who's the
Danny
lead guy?
McBride.
Danny McBride in Tropic Thunder, where he plays the gag guy. I thought that guy was totally going to be him. Yeah, watch this. Boom.
Yeah, right. I think she's the one person that does not get a bad choice award.
No, she gets a good choice. She left.
I think everybody on that set that didn't leave, actors, people that were in the show, producers, crew. If you didn't leave when the guy cut his own head off with a chainsaw, you are eligible for a bad choice award from Disturbed.
That's right.
Dee, you are not, but unfortunately you got the Piggy Award. So
Danette says she thinks that Matt or Shelby will survive. You know what? Thinking back on it, maybe Matt will survive because he's the one who wants to die.
He's the one who's like tortured by this.
Right.
Yeah, Matt could be a good bet. I'm personally thinking you're right. That it's going to be what's her name? Agnes. I think Agnes is an interesting choice because there's no way Agnes isn't showing up on this set. And to have her out there possessed, and maybe there'll be a question mark. Did she kill everybody? Did she not at the end? To us, we'll know the truth, but for the powers that be behind the scenes of the show, I don't mean American Horror Story, but I mean my Roanoke, Return to Roanoke. That's what the second one's called.
Return to Roanoke, 3 Days in Hell. Yes,
they could leave it ambiguous, to that viewer, whether it was this or that. But we know that it's these ghosts and the real butcher and all that.
Yes.
What didn't we cover here?
Well, so, they go in the show, Matt shows up, and he's going to go, I'm going to go sleep in the basement. What? Another bad choice. What's wrong with you people?
The basement. We know you found the video of Dennis O'Hare down in that basement.
Well, but it is the only place that nothing
bad has happened?
Nothing truly weird has happened. And
other than the video.
Well, every time they've been threatened, they run to the basement and been kind of protected. Even when they found the video, that was more in protection than it was in...
Right, it was a warning.
That happened. And then they found Evan Peters, who, took them out of relative safety, not real safety, but relatively speaking. So
yeah. So yeah, maybe that is the safest place to be in the house right now, but I don't think any place is safe. Although maybe that is why Matt survives, that he's taken up residence down there, and that's where stuff isn't going on.
Right. Which is unlike Murder House, because isn't Murder House where everything happened in the basement?
Yeah,
a lot happened in the basement, so
yeah,
that's like the opposite of that.
I'm going to put up a poll on our Twitter feed on @DisturbedPod. I'm going to name a few characters. We're going to try and narrow it down to who we think is going to be the survivor.
Put Rory on there just to see if anybody
votes for Rory.
Because R is for Rory.
That was great. What a great last line to the episode too.
Well, when they showed it and I looked and I just, I was writing notes and I look up, I'm like, see the writing on the wall, but then it said R. I'm like, oh.
Yep.
So does this kind of tie into Hotel where they have to complete their goals?
Right. Could be. No, but you know what? I don't think we're going to see the nurses disappear. I think that was just the nurse's story, and that is the plot device that shows us that it was complete. Right. But they're going to still be around.
And what about Evan Peters running upstairs to be the brave guy, walking around like a jerk?
Oh, it was great. And like the way he's like hyping himself up and he opens the cabinets and there's nothing there. And the whole time you're like, something. I didn't expect the nurses. I thought it was going to be Piggy or the butcher or something. But you know what? They said that they didn't harm people, that the Roanoke's didn't harm people until the blood moon. And they said it's not the blood moon yet. The full moon is like a day away or something.
Right. Yeah.
But maybe it's during this blood moon period, because that would be there. If they say over the course of the next 3 days, everybody here gets killed except one, maybe it's this phase full waning, waxing, waning, full.
And who knows, maybe he isn't really dead.
He's dead.
Well, no,
stab, slit throat.
But I'm just saying, like, they haven't seen his body up there. He just saw the sign. So maybe that's a foreshadowing of what's going to happen to him. Just because if they can't touch him, maybe they're saying, hey, this is what we're going to do. But, I believe he's dead. I
wonder if they're going to blame Matt next week in the beginning. If there's going to be question about Matt, because he walks in the room, nobody's seen anything. He hasn't even seen it. And he says, R is for Rory.
Right.
And then they're going to find Rory dead, or they're going to find a lot of blood. What is up with them calling Sarah Paulson old?
Well,
I mean, I know that she's older than Evan Peters, but they seem to really kind of focus on it, and she's very sensitive about it. I wonder if that's going to play into it, too. I wonder if they're going to, like the way she gets killed, is they're going to age her somehow and make it like your worst nightmare.
I don't know. Maybe it's just a Hollywood thing where, you get to be 40 and what roles do you have? I don't know. And she's just, because she's like English and obviously wants to act younger. So, hey, no sneeze, Mike, or no sneeze buttons.
Yeah, did you see me do that?
Yeah, no kidding.
You know what? We're both exhausted, and like I said, I think I'm getting a little cold. So let's. Chaz Bono was the minister. So Gotta love Chaz Bono showing up again. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it for this one. Another clever moment, really clever moment. That they make this mistake in a lot of horror movies, especially found footage stuff.
Right.
He gives them the phones. They're disabled. They're just so you can shoot video. You can't call out on them.
Right.
That was brilliant.
Yes.
That was checking all the boxes, making sure you guys are here. We have no contact. Now, what's weird is all this crap is just starting to go down. Mm-hmm. Those production vehicles are, what'd they say, a half mile away?
That's what they said, a half mile.
Are they able to see it, or are we going to find out in the next episode that out there, for some reason, there's disturbance, they're not getting anything?
Or did they get all killed and it's all ghosts running the truck?
No, that'd be awesome. That would be awesome.
Yeah,
and they were pulling away, just like D. When they started to pull them away, maybe they got slaughtered.
Right.
That's possible.
They're going to have arrows in them and stuff. It's going to be fantastic.
Because those guys do not want these people leaving.
No. The Polks are over there running it. It'd be great.
Yeah. That could be it, man.
Hillbilly TV. It'd be awesome.
How about that shot of Piggy in the bathroom? That was terrifying.
Yeah.
And at first I thought it was a guy with a hat. I was like, who's this? Right. And then, boom, it's Piggy, of course. That was totally scary. Evan Peters getting stabbed was scary. I
think the scariest thing was how and he did it intentionally, how much he overacted going up there. It was
it was great.
It was fantastic. It's like he's checking out of the bed like, hey, I'm a ninja. No, you're just a dorky.
Well, everybody's acting. The ones that made the switch from being the character to the now actor, I thought they were just spot on. Like the way Kathy Bates is when she's doing the interview, you're like, it doesn't seem like Kathy Bates. She's now being so close to a real person, a real believable person in that world that you're like, what is this performance? It was great.
Yeah,
Angela Bassett. I love when she's confronting Lee and Lee's like, oh, you've got an alcohol problem. She's like, it's because of you piece of crap. It's because you killed your husband. They're blaming her.
Oh, yeah.
And I like how Lee's like, yeah, you set it up that it was me. But the only thing that we think we know is that she walked out that door and disappeared for X amount of time.
Right.
But we don't know if that's true, if it's going to come out that wasn't reality. So there is a possibility that we're going to find something else out about that.
Possible, yeah. There's someone answer me, but she was looking for Flora. Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Where's Flora? They haven't done an interview with her. We don't see the real Flora. They didn't bring the girl who acted as Flora back into this.
Yeah.
What happened with that?
Maybe they decided we don't want to kill a kid. It was easier when it was an actor. Maybe they go the route of her parents have custody. Didn't she say that the in-laws were trying to get custody?
I think so. So, yeah.
Yeah, maybe there's something with that we're going to find out.
I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe the kid's in foster care. And then the actress, maybe the parents are like, we're not sending this kid back out there.
Yeah,
no crazy people.
It's Angela Bleepin Bassett. So
Kathy Bates is in this. They're like, no, that's not Kathy Bates. It's Kathy Bates, and she's crazy too.
And why didn't they bring back the guy who played Cricket? I mean, I know they're looking for everybody in there. It would be great if they got everybody.
Oh, bring Cricket back. Have him come in and be almost identical to that. Like the rest of them all changed. Have him come still talking like that and still be like, I'm getting messages.
I wasn't playing I wasn't playing that character.
I didn't know I was on a TV show. Yeah. Does anyone have a Diet Coke?
Coke Zero.
Coke Zero. I'm calling Uber.
I'd kill anybody for it. I'd kill someone for a Coke Zero right now.
What if it turns out Cricket's the one that survives?
That would be great.
And the last shot out in the woods, I think the last shot's just going to be out in the woods, and all you hear is like an actual cricket. He's sitting there, cricket.
Or Dennis O'Hare.
Dennis
O'Hare made it. Elias Cunningham. One leg. Eileen.
Yeah, no hand.
Eileen, no hand.
All right, Eileen. Yeah, he's hanging on the wall. They call him Art. So, all right.
They threw him in a tub of water, called him Bob.
Call him Bob. He's laying out in front of the house. They call him Matt. All right, I want to end this, but before we do, the very last thing, what do you think the worst choice was in this episode?
Anybody who made a choice to go there. I think the worst choice is, besides them going back, because that's the obvious one.
That's the obvious one.
Why would she go answer the door by herself in the house? Why? That makes no sense.
No sense. Yeah, I think that might be it. I'm going to give a different vote, but I think yours wins. I think the worst choice is Sydney deciding to not leave at the moment that the guy cut his head off with a chainsaw. Whether he believes in the ghost stuff or not, there are so many violations there. He's got a crew that's spooked. As a producer, you're better off saying we're gonna regroup so we can come back tomorrow and things are gonna work. He didn't do that. He's like, nobody's leaving. They're gonna be here in 4 hours. Let's do this thing.
Right. Well, exactly. But
as a producer, that is a.
Did you expect anything else?
Choice? No.
He does where he interviews one of his people that think they're going to be in the show and serves them with papers that they can't be within 500 feet of them. What kind of a-hole does that?
And the way he did it, and of course he filmed it too, so it'll go on his show. Yeah, bad choices, man. Yeah. But I think you might be right. Shelby go to that door by herself after everything that the character has been through. You go, seriously?
Well, and Matt even said, he goes, I thought you were smarter than that. No, she's not.
She's not.
She's an idiot.
I could see if like Evan Peters' character walked and opened the door. Then you're like, okay, yeah. What does he know?
In a towel, like they were. So
exactly.
How about him running around in flip flops, trying to be like a ninja guy? I'm like, you're in flip flops, dude.
How about the other thing with him? That swimsuit was amazing. Yeah. That black like one piece swimsuit. Like, what is this? Yeah. He's got the flip flops on and the red hair. He's the worst.
He's very, and this is not to slight anybody from California, but it was so California. It's like, yeah, I'm ready to go. Yeah, no, you're not.
Yeah, it's great, man. Okay, let's end it. You can follow the show on Twitter, and please do, and tell your friends about it. We're at Disturbed Pod on Facebook. You can find us. Just type in at, you know how you can just do single words now. Type in at Disturbed Podcast. I couldn't get Disturbed Pod for some reason. Very weird. So find us there. We're on Instagram. I don't think we do much with the Instagram for this. We're on Pinterest. You can find our Pinterest board, and that's a lot of fun. You can also find our YouTube channel, which you're obviously watching now. We're talking about getting our own YouTube channel just for Disturbed. That will be coming soon. Announcements pending. Let's see. What else? On Monday nights, typically 7:15, we record this live. Mm-hmm. Chat with us. It's a great place. We love to talk to you guys. Get in there, ask questions, give your thoughts. We'll either talk about it on the air or we will reply in the chat room. We love it when people are chatting on there. So get in there with us on that. And I'm going to hand it over to you, Chris.
No, I think that's good. My stuff, you can find me at theblueboxcafe.com or Blue Box Cafe or Blue Box Cafe 176 on my social media. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, not only with us, this show, with the other shows that we do, stuff with Live at the Blue Box, stuff with Southgate Media. So there's good changes coming for some of the stuff, and some of the others will be business as usual. So we're getting there.
Yeah. Lots of things in the works and ideas going on. It's a great time to be a podcaster.
Yeah.
All right. I'm done. I am going back to Roanoke.
Are you? Okay.
Bad choice number 4.
Bad choices of many bad choices today. So.
Right.